What's going on, everybody? My name is Aiden and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a fun one today as we've got Chicago Bulls and San Antonio Spurs game reaction to discuss. And again, what a fun one to be a part of, ladies and gentlemen. Back and forth game. The Bulls were just on fire offensively. The Spurs tried to respond, especially in the second half, getting close, but ultimately just didn't have enough in the end to walk away with a victory. The Bulls celebrate as we've won 5 straight games in a row against San Antonio. To be fair, when I look at this game, and there's so much positive to take away from this game, but I also have to admit and I have to acknowledge that a game like this probably isn't possible if Victor Wembanyama was on the floor. But regardless, let's talk about it in this video. Before we get any further, if you like the video and you want to see more from me, drop a like, drop a follow, and or subscribe if you are new. And let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls, their game today, and your player of the game as we win the game 139 to 124. I guess the scoreline is a little bit flattering to San Antonio. We were up by around 20 points for a lot of that game. Strong quarters all the way around. I think San Antonio's big quarter came within the third. They had 40 points in the third quarter to the Bulls at 35. But ultimately, for the entire time, really, we were the better team overall. But I mentioned it before. No Victor Wembanyama in this game. Now, I want to start off with this because at the end of the day, it's very important towards how we won the game. Because we obviously took advantage of that. And I give credit to the Bulls for this because there are certain years in the NBA where I've watched where we do not take advantage of guys being out. We don't take it, for example, the best example I could give is the Joel Embiid situation. There was a time Joel Embiid was undefeated against the Chicago Bulls, but when there were times where he was out for that game against the Bulls, and there were a couple times where he was, most of the time we don't take advantage of that. Most of the time we don't capitalize. Today, I could truly honestly say we capitalized on that. So much paint production in this game, it was undeniable. They didn't have much of a rim protection out there. I know Zach Collins got a couple of blocks in there, but ultimately not a whole lot of rim protection out there. There's no 7'4" absolute beast of a man in there, so you get the opportunity to go to work. And Vucevic, 40 points with bulk of them being in the paint. So many putback dunks, so many slam dunks in general. Ayo had a field day in the paint. Levine, Bazelis, everybody. It felt like everybody had a great time in the paint today. And I think that is what happened. You took advantage of a situation that no one really expected. I think everybody expected Wembanyama to play today. I don't know. Maybe it was just me that expected that. But even heard Levine quotes floating around saying that he couldn't wait to verse Victor Wembanyama and stuff of that nature, saying he's the best defender in the league. So we took advantage at the end of the day. And I do question whether or not we would have had that type of game if Victor Wembanyama was there, because the way that I see it is that the Bulls would have definitely went more to the perimeter today. I'm not saying they didn't go to the perimeter. They made a couple of big threes in the end. But I think personally they would have went more to the perimeter if Victor Wembanyama was there. It's just natural basketball. You see a rim protector in the paint, you tend not to go towards them. So yeah, ultimately we took advantage of that. But my goodness, was it a fun game to watch offensively. And to be honest, you saw a triple-double from Chicago's own Ayo Dosunmu. And you know what I can say to that? The triple-double made sense, man. The triple-double made sense. I've been saying this for the past 2 seasons. The person that finds the center the most in this team is Ayo Dosunmu. He always is looking for the center on the pick and roll. And when you don't have, the massive size that the Spurs once had, obviously with no Wembanyama, the size advantage was always on the Bulls side today. Ayo was the guy to get those people involved, whether it was Jalen Smith or Nikola Vucevic. Both of them had field days in there, and Ayo was the one delivering those passes left, right, and center. It makes sense. It makes sense that Vucevic had the 40-plus point night. It was 40 points to be exact. And it makes sense that Ayo got a triple-double today. It just makes absolute total sense to me. And it was a brilliant game to watch. I'm so happy for Ayo Dosunmu. His first triple-double in a Chicago Bulls uniform. His first triple-double in his NBA career. Vucevic, another strong game from the big man, ladies and gentlemen. He's undeniable this season. How efficient and how lethal he has been on the offensive end. And those two together played, in my opinion, a perfect team game. But of course, they're not the only ones to talk about. We could talk about more guys if we need to. Levine Or speaking of triple doubles here, Levine, 11 points, 9 rebounds, and 9 assists. He had his own sneaky little triple double in his own right, and that's something to give credit to himself. Obviously, I don't know what to say about Zach Levine, because sometimes he's not out there producing 26, 27 points. But in a game like today, we dropped nearly 140 points in the game, and you see Zach Levine's stat card, and it's 9 assists. He was facilitating just as much as anybody, ladies and gentlemen, and you got to give credit to that. Vucevic had 39 points, my apologies, but it was close. I'll give him the 40. You know what? He gets 40 points from me. An extra point for being that good today. Julian Phillips had 9 points, a couple of threes in the game. Iowa 27 points, 11 assists and 10 rebounds. Dalen Terry 12 points and a mean dunk to go alongside of that. Taylor Horton-Tucker 13 points off the bench again, an absolutely lethal weapon off of our bench. And you know what? He needs to keep playing, because our bench is so much better when he plays. Not just necessarily contribution-wise, but it's just our bench lacks scoring. It always has. 2 seasons ago, we didn't score that much off the bench. And even a season ago, we didn't score that much off the bench. So at least now with Taylor Horton-Tucker, yes, I would say our bench still needs a little bit of work, but now you got a guy that can score. He can take it to the rim, he can make a 3, and he makes it effortless sometimes the way that he can score as well. And then you got Matas Bazelas, a mean putback slam, a couple of dunks in there as well. 11 points and 7 rebounds. Fantastic from the young man. And then Jalen Smith with 9 points and 3 rebounds as well. Just, again, so well-rounded, so perfectly played. It was fun. Unfortunately, the defensive end still needs some work. I specifically think today our transition defense let us down. For example, there were a couple of times where the Bulls went really fast offensively, and because of how fast we went, whether the Spurs got the stop or whether we got the bucket, we didn't respond well on the other end. So transition defense, to me, getting back in the right positions at the right time to ensure that the Spurs don't get easy buckets, that was a big factor today. There was even a play where the Bulls, I guess, were going for a steal, and everybody kind of bolted to the other side of the court, but the Bulls never picked up the ball. Chris Paul ends up picking it up and shoots a 3. And that, to me, is a representation of bad defense. It goes to show that transitionally, we still need work defensively. And we allowed the Spurs to kind of get back into the game when they had no right being in the game. So those were the negatives I take away from it. I mean, we were up by 20 for so long, and then all of a sudden, in the late third and the late fourth quarters of this game, we made the Spurs, I guess, come back to life in many ways. They had a chance, and they tried to take advantage of it. Again, we won the game, so it's a negative, but it's not a negative we're going to remember in even a couple days' time, let alone a week's, a month's time. But something to keep your eyes on defensively. When we had the game dead and buried, we did end up giving a little bit too much to the Spurs, in my opinion, gave them a little bit of hope where they didn't need to have it. With that being said, my player of the game today, look, Vucevic had 39 points. It's almost impossible not to give it to him, but I've said this before and I'll say it again, when you get a triple-double, to me, it's almost instantaneously going to get the player of the game for me. So Ayo Dosunmu is my player of the game. 27 points, 11 rebounds, 10 assists. It all makes sense today with Ayo, ladies and gentlemen. When he finds the center, that's his game. He's always been like that. When he scores in his own way. It's not like he did anything ununique to what he normally does. He scores, I guess, catch and shoot threes. He doesn't take massively contested shots. He's able to shoot the floater and get to the rim. He was really, really good today. And rebounding-wise, well, again, the Spurs are undersized. Guards getting rebounds. I mean, almost all of our guards had good rebounding nights. Even guys like Giddey. How much did Giddey have? Giddey didn't have... he had 2 rebounds. Oh, that's really weird. I thought Giddey had a little... Sorry, something just dropped. Giddey had 4 rebounds. My apologies. This video's kind of gone a little bit chaotic towards the end, but since it is the end, tough break. I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for more. Take care, and peace.